Nobody's worried? Hey guys, it's Holly Madison. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm continuing my Girls Next Door commentary. We are on season 3, episode 7 already. This is called Hearts Afire. It's the episode where we do Valentine's Day and Mardi Gras. If you hit the like and subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. And let's get started with the episode. Okay, so the episode starts off, I'm in Mary's office wearing my Blonde Mafia t-shirt. And I'm telling her that we want to go to Trader Vic's for Valentine's Day. And I'm so happy. Like, one of the things I love about this show existing is it kind of gives me this video scrapbook of life, which isn't always great, but it does capture some good moments. And one of the things I love is it shows us going to Trader Vic's in this episode. And Trader Vic's used to be at the Beverly Hilton Hotel, which is now like the Waldorf, I think it's called. Or I'm getting it confused with the Waldorf. I don't know. Anyway, it was at the Beverly Hilton Hotel, the hotel that's like at the intersection of like Wilshire and Santa Monica. And I loved it. It was like old school tiki restaurant. It was big. They had the best food. Like, I know there's still Trader Vic's in existence, but the ones I've been to since then, it's like the food isn't the same. It was so good. They had the best novelty drinks. So I love being able to see video footage from that because I wouldn't have that otherwise if it wasn't for this show. Okay, so then it's Valentine's Day. We're on the theme of love. So I'm talking about, you know, friends getting married and stuff. And I tell Mary that my sister's getting married in Jamaica, and I go, and I'm going. And I say it kind of defiantly. And just how crazy is that it's like thought of as like a big step that I'm going to my own sister's wedding. Like, that's nuts. But that's just how controlled I had been for so long, like just never allowed to leave for anything. Like the episode before this, the snowboarded episode, I want to say that was the first episode I'd ever stayed overnight anywhere without Hef. And I'd been with him for how long at this point? 6 years, almost 6 years. So then it has me talking about what I want my wedding to be like, and it shows Hef walking in, and then he's like, oh, what are you talking about? So I start listing off stuff, and they like speed me up, so I'm talking a mile a minute. And I feel like I always get so hammered. Like, one of people's favorite criticisms to throw at me, like I'm supposed to be so offended, is like, you wanted to get married. Like, what's wrong with that? Especially like if you've already like invested, you've been in a relationship for like 6 years. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Especially like I'm talking about it to him, like right in front of him. It's not like it's this secret scheme or anything. And I think when one person is wealthy, there's this misconception that like a girl could be a gold digger and she could like trick a guy out of her money, which, yeah, I guess could be the case. But like someone like him who's like been around the block 500 million times, like he has people, legal people, like tying up his finances. Like, he's smart enough to do that himself anyway, but like, and he already had 4 kids at that point. Like, how much could anybody have possibly walked away with? But I just feel like people love to hammer me over that for something, and I just think it's dumb. And the fact that I'm doing this and I'm like, oh, I want to get ready to do in front of him, and it's playing out as a funny scene. Like, it's obvious that I was also like in on the joke. Like, it wasn't something I was like afraid to talk about in front of him or afraid to joke about. So I feel like when people come at me and they try to insult me in that way, they're just like barking up the wrong tree. And then they do my favorite thing is like, I look at him and I go, I'm telling her what we're going to do for our wedding. And they pause him and they focus in and they go, do, 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 do. And I just think it's so funny when they do that. You can also see a boom in this shot, just creeping in from the hallway. And then he's about to respond and say something, and they cut away to an interview of me. And I'm curious what he was going to say, because I'm sure whatever he said was funnier than what they, I don't know. I don't know what they were going for. Like, maybe they didn't think it was funny, but I'm sure whatever he said next was funny. I don't know. And then they just, after the interview, they cut back to him and they put like a fake gulping sound over what he's saying, which, you know how I feel about the bodily function sound effects. I don't know if you can see it in the bed, but this interview, I've commented on it before. I hate it. Like, instead of being in the mansion living room where I usually am, they have me over at the bunny house and I'm backlit like crazy and my hair looks crazy and it's just nuts. They were doing whole sets of interviews with us that they used over the course of several episodes. I've talked about Bridget's before that I can tell are supposed to be like the Valentine's interview. And like, this is mine because I'm wearing like a red sweater. And there's like a statue of a reclining nude in the back. And I wonder if whoever set that up was like subconsciously put that there, because it looks to me like it's like a woman like leaning over, like just being a doormat and being steamrolled. And I feel like that's just how things always were for me in the relationship. And I wonder if that was like a subconscious, like, we're gonna put this in her interview. And Bridget's Valentine's interview is in so many episodes, and it's fully set up Valentine's behind her. And I describe Hef as a romantic in my interview, but I feel like his brand of romance was like playing house. It was like pretend. Like, he'd always buy the girls flowers, or like give them like costume jewelry for their birthdays, or, you know, whatever, a cake for their birthday, and like say I love you on the first date, love bomby. But like, it's like playing house. It's like very like pretend and fake, but he'll always swear up and down he's such a romantic, and it's like, no dude, you play in house. In Bridget's interview, you can see the framed, I need to ask her about this, because there's a framed picture. I've talked about this before in other, it was in another interview of hers. It's a framed photo of her and Hef. And for our birthdays, Hef would usually give us a framed photo of him and whoever the person was. But this isn't like a photo they took casually. It's like a cutout of like a magazine cover that me, her, Hef, and Kendra were all on, but it's just cut out. So it's her and Hef. And it's just funny because that's not the kind of photo you usually put in a picture frame. Like, it reeks very much of like a stock photo that like comes with the frame. And I want to ask her, was that something like the show made for the background, or like, did he give that to you? Because usually when he would give us the framed photos, it would be like a snapshot or something, like something that made more sense. So if you guys are interested in what the other rooms of the mansion looked like, there's 3 other bedrooms that you don't usually see, because like room 1 was Hef's, room 2 was Kendra's, room 3 was Bridget's, but then there's rooms 4, 5, and 6. And you saw room 4 in the episode where Bridget is trying to hang out with Kendra and Monica. And then I don't think you ever see, I'll be surprised if you ever see room 5, but room 6 is the one that Hef and Mary and Norma are in right now, because they're looking over potential gifts to give us for Valentine's Day. And it was all like Playboy merchandise, which we loved. Don't get me wrong, we loved that stuff. But it's so funny looking back, because do you guys ever see like on Instagram or TikTok, you end up on like Sugar Baby For You page, and it'll be a girl who's like, look what my sugar daddy got me for my birthday. And it's like all the designer bags and the designer shoes and a fat stack of cash and a watch and jewelry. And you might think, oh, if you were like Hugh Hefner's girlfriend back in the day, that was probably what like birthdays looked like. And it wasn't the case. And I'm not saying this to like bitch or complain or like say I wasn't happy with what we were getting. I was, but I do think it's funny, because I think that people would think it's something else. They'd think it was like ultimate like sugar baby land, like you're getting like all the designer stuff and a fat stack of cash, when really it was just like free Playboy merch. Which again, disclaimer, like we loved it, like we loved getting that stuff and we were super grateful for it and whatever. But yeah, it's just funny. So this episode is kind of split up with the girls. The first half of it is all about Valentine's Day, and it's very much me and Bridget, because like I'm the romantic one, and like Bridget of course is into like holidays and themes and decorating. And then they give, the second half of the episode is the Mardi Gras party, and they give that to Kendra and her family, because Mardi Gras and Kendra's the wild one or whatever. And I'm not hating on it at all. Like I think it totally works in this episode. And I think it's a good example of how there can be an episode where we're all kind of doing separate things, but still interacting. And it doesn't feel really split, like the episode where I'm working at the studio and Bridget and Kendra are off doing something totally separate, which I think those episodes felt kind of strained and not that great. It's so funny to see Hef and Mary interact. It reminds me of like a sitcom couple or something. And she's like, what if we take these? And he's like, no. Okay, but what if we do? No. It's funny. It cracks me up. Don't know if you can see it, but this is an interview I like. This is me in my element, the dark paneled wood, the antique lamp. Keep it this way. No more backlit bunny house BS. And ironically, probably back in the day, I think I would have been thrilled to be shooting at the bunny house, because I thought that house was really cute and colorful. but really this is so much better suited to my Capricorn self. And yeah, I didn't know I was backlit either. So then there's a scene of Bridget and I sitting on her bed, and we're talking about what are you going to get Hef for Valentine's Day. And Bridget's like, I'm just exhausted today. And I'm like, I know, me too. We're both just like exhausted. And they're kind of playing it off like, who are these lazy, pampered girls who are, you know, while Hef's busy, like picking out their gifts, they're so late. They're tired after a day of doing nothing. Like, I know that's how this is meant to play out. But like in reality, like Bridget and I were super motivated, even though we weren't allowed to work or things like that. Like we always were in school, and we were the type of girls who would wake up with like a to-do list and just be like crossing it off. And like at the end of the day, like I only got a third of my to-do list done today. Like we were just always like that. That's the way we were. And it's funny because when my book first came out, like a lot of criticism I would get, I don't really see this now so much for some reason. It's interesting to see how people's viewpoints change and like what you see and what you don't. But a lot of what I would get when my book first came out was people would chime in and be like, these women, meaning not just me or me and Bridget, but like every girl who lived at the house, these women are just lazy. They're so lazy. That's why they went to the mansion. And it's like, I can't speak for everybody, but I know for a fact Bridget and I were not lazy. Like we were always motivated. And you know what? If you are lazy, no hate. But like, I don't know, people like love to just assume we're lazy. I'm lazy in a tired way. Like I will be the first one to say I'm a lazy bitch when it like comes to like, I want a nap, because I'm just one of those people who needs like a good 9 hours or whatever. But as far as being motivated and like getting my stuff together and like getting stuff done during the day, like I'm not lazy. Okay, so then it cuts to a scene of us playing dominoes. And we started playing this dominoes game called Mexican Train at Mary O'Connor's house, the girls and I. And then we showed Hef how to play, and he really loved that game. So we would play that game like on, I forget what night it was, Wednesday night. I think we finally like stopped going out to clubs on Wednesday night and would do like dominoes that night instead. And he loved that game, and we loved it too. But after a while, the game gets really boring because it's a very simple game, but he still wanted to play it like every single week. And it was just like, can we do another game? There was a period of time earlier on, like before Girls Next Door, where like Bridget, Crystal Camden, and I would play Monopoly with Hef on Tuesday nights, and we would order pizza and we'd do it in Bridget's room, and it was super fun. Those were the times I liked at the mansion, like the going out to clubs and stuff, not so much. While I'm playing dominoes, I see I'm eating a side of steamed broccoli. Exciting. I should get back to that. I can totally see, like watching this episode, for example, why young girls were watching this show and thinking, oh my God, I would love to live there. Because like in this episode particularly, like all of us are getting along, like there's no drama, you can't sense like the underlying passive aggressive stuff that was going on sometimes. And we were just like, you know, he's picking out all these gifts for Valentine's Day, and we're just playing Monopoly and being cozy, and Bridget and I are so tired after a day of doing nothing. You know, it just looks so idealized. So then Bridget and I are arranging a date for her dog Wednesday and my dog Duke, which is corny as hell, but we loved it. We loved doing anything that incorporated the dogs. I still, like as a viewer now, I love watching episodes that feature the dogs because they're just so cute. And I don't think it's just because they were my dogs, because I love watching the other people's dogs too. Like I just think it's like fun. And also like any use for my golf cart, I always loved. And they did like a romantic golf cart ride around the block. And it shows Bridget walking down the hall. And I just love seeing the mansion hallway with hardwood floors and no carpet. It looks so nice, looks so clean. So we're getting ready to put the dogs in the golf cart, and I'm just wearing the frumpiest dress from, you guessed it, Victoria's Secret catalog. And it's just like such a frumpy like housewife shirt dress. It's not my fave. So Bridget gave me a basket of dog toys from Wednesday to Duke, and Hef comes down and he's sitting on the stairs just cackling, like never been more amused by something in his life. So my golf cart had like a cover to keep it clean, and I'm driving around with just the cover on top of the golf cart. I should have taken it off. It looks terrible. Maybe I am a little lazy. So then we're showing Bridget and Crystal Camden making Valentine's cakes in the kitchen. So you get to see a little bit of the mansion kitchen, and it was very much like an industrial kitchen, like a kitchen you would see like at a hotel or something, or it didn't look very much like a residential kitchen. And of course, Bridget has all like the pink, you know, bowls and mixers and stuff like that. Very cute. And I gotta say, few things taste better than just like a box Betty Crocker cake. Am I wrong? I want to eat those Valentine's cakes, I'm not gonna lie. You guys, just please look at the Trader Vic's scene and just how good this restaurant was. It was so fun. The food was so good. The drinks were so cute. It had a very vintage glam vibe. It was like mid-century tiki. Okay, so it shows us up to dinner with all these other girls. And I'm like, I don't put a lot of pressure on Valentine's Day. Like, I feel like it's more about just hanging out with all the other girls as it is just being with Hef. And I'm shocked that they like let me say that, because it's so far away from like the narrative they've always gone with of like me being jealous. I mean, I must have just wised up at this point and like refused to say what they wanted me to say, or only just stuck to, no, this is like what I'm saying. Because it did get to that point. It got to the point where some of the producers sitting across from me when I was doing my interview would say, okay, Holly, now say blah, blah, blah. And I'd be like, no, I don't feel that way. And they would be like, come on, yes, you do, Holly. And I'm like, what? I don't. Stop it right now. Okay, they will not be defeated though, because so Allison Waite, who is a friend of ours that I love, has this dress that keeps like sliding down. So it kind of like becomes this joke because she keeps like popping out of the dress. And then it cuts back to me like I'm sipping my drink and I'm going like this, but it looks like I'm dogging her. And I would have never done that. Like, I loved Allison. And like, come on, when you live at the Playboy Mansion, you're not like threatened because somebody's popping out of their dress. And the outfit I'm wearing for our Valentine's Day at the house is this costume that Playboy Costumes made. And it was a Cupid costume, but I'm not wearing like the wings or anything. It's just like the dress part of it. And I couldn't find it in my archive. You guys, I'm organizing the archive, I swear. And then it cuts me saying, I love all my private time with Hef. And then Hef, looking at his watch, goes, oh, we better get down there. And it's like, so I gave the girls Playboy lockets from my Playboy jewelry line, and I cut out little pictures of things to put in. And Bridget said hers was Wednesday. And I wonder what I put in Kendra's. A football. I mean, I don't remember. It could have been her dogs. Could have been football. And then, so I'm giving the girls these sock bouquets because I used to have a website and I would sell tube socks on them because I'd always wear tube socks on the show and like not a lot of people made them. And then they came up with this idea to package them as like bouquets for Valentine's Day, and they came in like tissue paper, and then the tissue paper hit one of the candles and caught on fire. And it's so funny because Kendra freaks out when she sees the fire and everybody else is so calm. And watching it as a viewer, I'm thinking Kendra's the only one having a reasonable reaction. Like it's burning right on that table, and like the table has to be, I would think it would be expensive. I think it was one of those things in real life where like the thing caught on fire, but it looked less of a big deal in real life than it did on TV. But watching it as a viewer, I'm like, why is Kendra the only one having a reasonable reaction to this? Nobody's worried? Because you'd think if that table even got singed, it would. Okay, so then they're showing the Mardi Gras party, and there were decorations that they used every year for the Mardi Gras party. And there were these like paper cutout faces that were really creepy looking. And then there was a big mask that kind of looks like Michael Jackson. So then Kendra's getting ready for the Mardi Gras party and her family arrives, and the whole plot line was her 18-year-old brother was coming, so they were going to try and find him a girl. So then it cuts to Bridget going to get her Mardi Gras outfit. And then they do this kind of tacky thing where we go down and we are saying hi to the women who are getting painted in the gym. And then Hef was talking about how that's how he met Kendra, was she was a painted lady at his birthday party. And she goes, I don't know what made me stand out over the other girls. And then it shows old footage of her painted. And they do this thing in the editing where it has sparkles go on her boobs and crotch. And I don't know, like it's kind of funny, but it's kind of like rude. I don't know. I don't know. And then I'm finishing adding like the rhinestones to my costume because I love to design the costumes that I wore to Hef's parties, or even some of them make myself. And I remember one time I sewed a dress that I wore to a Golden Globes party early on living there. And I was proud of it. I thought it looked good. I still think it looks good. Like if I could had time to dig up and find a picture of it, I'd show you guys. But I remember like saying, oh, I made it myself. And as we were standing there, all of us girls taking a picture with Hef before we left, one of his friends, who I thought was like my friend at the time because she acted like she was up my butt, but she was like, she made hers. And I wish I could tell you, I mean, I could tell you who it was, but I wish I could tell you who it was, just because she's like said mean things about me recently. So I don't know. I just remember those moments. So there's a scene where Kendra's mom is getting her makeup done and she's talking about getting plastic surgery. And I know she does get like full plastic surgery on the show at some point. I forget what season it was. But you can see she's already talking about it here and saying that she either has met with the doctor or made an appointment to meet with the doctor. You guys, there's this shot of me getting ready in front of my makeup mirror for the Mardi Gras party. And there's a still photo of it that I see quite often on Instagram where I'm like adjusting a crown. And it's funny because you see a reflection in my makeup mirror of like this pink makeup case, which was like the Playboy branded makeup. And there's light reflecting off of it, but it looks like lines of Coke, and it's not. like I don't hate, like if you do Coke, that's fine, I don't care. But like I never have, and I wouldn't have been doing it, especially in front of like the camera crew, and they wouldn't have been filming it because they would have been like, oh no, we can't have that on TV. So but it looks like that, but it's really just light reflecting off the thing. Stacy Burke is there. She has a really cute hairdo. Oh my God, Destiny looks so pretty at this party. You guys, just seeing footage from these parties, and it just shows snippets of different people, like people you forgot about, and it's just funny. Somebody showed up to this party full on dressed as a plague doctor. Okay, best and worst things about the episode. I don't know, this was a very mid episode for me. I think the best part was Trader Vic's, because I just love Trader Vic's so much, and I love being able to see like good, well shot video of it. That was fun. Worst, I think I just don't like some of my interviews and how I look in them. Yeah, it was a very mid episode. This one's mid. Okay, so I will see you guys next week. Next week is what's the next episode? Oh, Playmate of the Year. We have some Playmate of the Year candidates. We find out who it is. I will see you guys then. Bye.